brokers, renewal season. And trust me, if you're not planning ahead, you're already behind. I'm joined by Karah Feeley, our Senior Vice President of Licensing here at LicensingStore.com, where she's led thousands of mortgage professionals and companies through this exact process. And today, she's dropping the truth about what really trips people up and how to stay ahead of the mess. If you're a broker, owner, or you just got your first approval this year, this episode is a pre-renewal survival guide. So let's jump in. Hi, Karah, and welcome back to Approved AF. Before we dive into this renewal season chaos, give us a quick background on your role at Licensing Store and how you support clients through the renewal period.
Hi, thank you for welcoming me back. My role here, I'm a Senior Vice President of Licensing Team. I oversee all three levels, company, branch, and MLO. We do pretty much anything under the umbrella of that. We do new applications, we do amendments, we do renewals like you just said. And we also have like a monthly program that our clients can sign up where we do your reporting for mortgage call reports, annual reports. So we do everything under the umbrella. And renewal season is just around the corner. So that's what we are prepping for.
What is something that most people don't realize about renewal season until they've been through it once or twice, or maybe they've been through it just by the skin of their teeth?
There's a lot. They think the deadlines are so far out that they have a lot of time, but there's a lot more prep that a lot of companies don't really see until it's right in front of their faces. A lot of states have different deadlines than the general ones. So, you could Google or go to the NMLS and see the basic 11-1 and 12-31, but that is not for all 50 states. So that is, I think, a lot of where people get stuck is they think they have until 11-1 or 12-31, but they have a state like Georgia or Delaware or West Virginia where they have their own state-specific deadlines that are before those dates. So, Georgia's a great example where your education has to be done before October 31st, way before the 11-1 time. So those are a lot of the hiccups that companies forget or, don't see until renewal season. So we're always trying to prepare early before 11-1.
Kind of going into like a renewal season 101 for the basics. For someone who just launched a mortgage company this year, and maybe they just got their first approval, say back in February of this year, what's something that they need to know about license renewals?
Something to know about license renewals is you have to do education every year. It's not something you do once and be done with. So every year you have to do what is called continued education. It doesn't matter if that state doesn't have its own, you still have to do the 8 hours. So that's something that is continuous. Bond coverage, depending on the state that they hold, has to be renewed every year as well. And the NMLS fees are due every year. It's not a one-time fee. So those are the top three that we see occur.
If they just got their first company license, do they still have to renew at the end of the year, or is that?
Yeah. And that's the second you get approved, it actually, I think it's most states that it doesn't matter if you're approved before 11-1 or during, you have to renew it anyway. And that's the NMLS fees that you would renew during the renewal time.
So I think you mentioned renewal season officially kicks off on 11-1. That's kind of when the NMLS allows you to start, submitting things. But what is the ideal timeline to begin preparing for that?
Yeah, you can prepare as early as the month of June that we're in right now. When it comes to education and bond renewals, 11-1 is just when the NMLS portal opens. So it's not necessarily that's when renewals start. You can prepare for renewals as early as now, meaning, review all of your corporate documents, make sure there's no changes being done. A lot of our clients, like to look at their loan reports and, see if there's a certain states that they may not want to renew for the new year. So there's just like overall corporate meetings that could happen to just overall see, is it worth, the bang of your buck to have every state that you have? Or, financially, should you go for more? We always recommend if you are going to apply for new licenses, it be before renewal season. State regulators' time frames slow down tremendously after the month of November. Once November hits, they are no longer looking at new licenses and they're only looking at renewals. So those are just a lot of things to look before, the half of the year is to, just overall look at the company's goals and your documents, make sure everything's updated. And that you've just prepared before November. November is when the portal opens and you can pay the money. Other than that, you can prepare before.
That's actually a good segue. What types of licensing fees or filing fees are due? Is it just the NMLS or does the Secretary of State come into play?
So it's just the NMLS and 11.1. Your Secretary of State deadlines are completely different. That is sometimes quarterly. Those dates are completely separate from your NMLS renewals on that end. Now, of course, keep in mind your profiles do have to match. So that for example, if you change an address or if you change a member of your team, and that is on the Secretary of State end, but not on the licensing end, that could disrupt your renewals. But deadline wise, it is the NMLS fees are what you'll pay on November 1st. That is state specific. So they vary in price, as well as whether or not you need a credit report or criminal background check. That goes also state specific. Not every state requires that to be done every year.
So, what do you find is the number one most common error that first time people going through the renewal process end up making, both on a company or an MLO level?
I think it goes back to time. Everyone thinks they have enough time. I just had a great example of I'm trying to get a client, prepared, meaning confirming their profile, confirming their, if they're going to pay for everything. And he said, it's too early. And it's never too early. So I think that's the biggest thing is they think they have up until 11.1 and they truly, truly don't. You want to get all your education and your ducks in a row. You want to make sure you have your documents like driver's licenses, if any of them are going to expire this year, like your legal documents, if anything's expiring, those have to be renewed beforehand. Fingerprints, if you have fingerprints due, let's say your fingerprints expire 11/2, you can get those done before 11/2. So there's a lot of prep you can do before. And I think the common mistake is just thinking, oh, I have all year to get prepared. And you just don't.
Just kind of waiting to that last minute to even start their education or confirm anything. Yeah.
Because education takes a long time to go on to the NMLS as well. As I'm, seasoned officers will know that out of renewal season, it can probably take up to 2 days to reflect. When you're in renewal season, it can take up to a week. So again, if you have a Georgia and you're trying to hit the 10/31 deadline and you wait until 10/28, it can take those 3 full days to even reflect and you can get in trouble.
How do you find that most mortgage professionals get caught off guard during renewal season? Is it that they're not checking their emails, they're not aware of the deadlines, or they just don't know what's required?
A common mistake is you think you just pay the bill and you're done. That is not the case. You always have to be checking your profile daily, renewal wise or not. You should be logging in every day. The states can at any time post something, but renewal season's even more important to be checking because once you pay the bill, that is not just the end. There's states out there that Delaware, Michigan, there's certain states out there that have MLO requirements of you, that you may or may not need. Same with company level. There's documents that you may need that's in addition to just paying the fee.
Can you kind of elaborate or share a story where maybe like a small error turned into a big compliance headache for a company?
Yeah, Maryland is the greatest example during renewals. You have to submit the volume of business statement, and it has to be the document asks certain loan amounts of the company, and if though that dictates what your bond amount is. So if you don't have that again ahead of time, to give you enough time to either increase or decrease your bond, and as well as get that signed document to the state also has to have time to review that. So it's a big headache on a compliance level, because if your bond amount isn't correct, then your renewal is in jeopardy. You don't have that document to the state in time to confirm it, you're in jeopardy. And there's states that you get that in 1229, but they didn't get enough time to review it because they're a state regulator. They have office hours as well. They don't get to it. You lose your license on a 1-1. So again, I can't stress the time. If you don't have enough time, get it all prepared so you can have time to fix or do anything the state needs. Because once you're just submit it, it's never just a submission. There's always, there's always something else the state can ask of you.
Early is always better. Um, Kind of shifting gears slightly here. If someone was just like a one-person shop last year, getting through their renewal season was probably a little less cumbersome, but they've grown. They now have multiple states. They've got multiple LOs working under them. How should their renewal strategy evolve this year?
Yeah, I guess it just goes back. It's not necessarily monitoring if they do it or not. It all depends on their company structure. I've seen it go different ways. I've seen companies pretty much tell the MLOs they're on their own. If they lose the license, they lose the license. It's not whether a win or a loss to the company. And I've also seen clients or companies cover their MLOs because it's really important to them. So it definitely varies depending on the goals of the company. So if each MLO is very important to them, and their loan volume is very important in certain states, then they may focus on certain hot states is what we always hear. But it definitely just varies on the person too. Branch managers and qualified individuals are always more important. Not saying every MLO is not, but those are a little higher priority because they do affect the company licensing. So when a company does grow and it's not just a one-man shop, I guess it differentiates when you start opening other locations, and assigning more responsibility to others. So, and a great example is if a company decides to promote someone to an officer, and then that's in addition to themselves, that they have to understand that person now has more responsibility and they have to monitor that as well.
That's actually a very good point because I think a lot of people just shrug that off like, oh, okay, not a big deal, but it can affect the rest of the company. So they need to take it a little more seriously.
It just depends on who you bring on your company. So a big thing is character and fitness. We do not run credit reports for you, nor does the state. The state pulls them. They do not run them. So if you hire someone that says they have wonderful credit and they don't, you just have to see it on a higher level, meaning your branch managers or whoever you bring on can affect your company license based off, regulatory actions, credit report problems. So, it's just basing it off of general character and fitness when you hire, especially for renewals.
Yeah, that's a good point. Have you seen other companies implement tools or systems or habits that have helped them navigate through the renewal season for their organization, for their company?
It would be more of like a education monitoring. Again, it goes back to times and deadlines. When you have multiple MLOs, people are going on vacation. People are not always, there, or they have multiple jobs. So it's just kind of monitoring that. Yes, they may have been enrolled, but they can forget. We're all humans. So are 40% done with the course and they may have thought they finished it. So those are, tools that companies can utilize, or, hiring assistants to monitor those and, see who is 90% done and who hasn't taken the test yet. Those are examples of like, oh, well, no, I did my education. They always think they did, but they're, pressing submit and finish and getting it to the NMLS. Those are the type of things to get it to the finish line. So those are wonderful recommendations that I've seen clients be successful at, is just monitoring all of your MLOs in a way of getting their education done is the biggest hurdle for renewals.
Now, you have been through a renewal season or two in your day, and you've successfully managed to navigate hundreds of companies and thousands of loan officers through this process. So what is your ideal pre-renewal checklist? Like things that people should be doing right now, not waiting till November, not waiting for months, but like June, July, they need to be thinking about and getting this done now?
Yes. In on a company higher level, if you're an owner and officer, you should be looking at finances. And what I mean by that is not if you have them, it's more of if you're covering everyone, and what states you intend to hold. So kind of goes back to, are you holding your whole profile? And if, meaning, are you going to keep your approved states for 2026? If so, do the calculations. If, if you're going to cover everyone, or if there's certain people you're going to cover, those are, talks to have internally. In addition to, you guys need to put yourself first, meaning if you're an owner and officer and you hold MLO licenses yourself, you should be the first to do your compliance work. And what I mean by that is your AML BSA education should be done way before 11/1 if you have that policy. You should be doing your CEs before your own MLOs, because again, you're an owner and an officer, or a QI. So if you hold licenses, you guys should go first. To keep the company good. So those are my pre-checklists: is get the owners and officers and branch managers squared away. Are they going to remain in those positions? And then go make sure, the financially covering the company, or the MLOs are on their own.
That's good tips. Those are definitely good things to be thinking about. Are there any myths that you have experienced people coming to you and thinking that that's a true renewal myth that you want to bust?
Not many. Most are true. When the states tell you something, they're not messing around. They're being truthful with you. There's not a minute employee. They're not going to lie to you. They're just going to tell you straight up. So if they're telling you you need it, you need it. There is no there's very little exemptions. A lot of people like to say, oh, well, I'm this and that, so therefore I don't need it. That's very, very rare that does occur. So if you hold an MLO license and you have a deficiency saying something, it's 90% sure you do need it. So there is no myth on that. And I guess it's like opposite. They're not myths. They're all true, that you have the time in the world that, no, I did my education. It'll reflect. We don't have control over technology, nor when the NMLS shuts down. So when the NMLS shuts down East Coast time, and you're over here on Pacific Coast time with me, and you finish at 11 p.m. over here because you're a late nighter, it is way beyond the NMLS time to record it. So love that you thought that, but that's a miss. It is not true that you'll get your education through when you think you did.
My personal favorite
Yes.
is, I have until 12:31. We've got time. Ooh, you already missed a lot of stuff. So yeah, getting in front of it.
Yeah, and government employees are humans as well. They have families. They do. Just late is Christmas time. I mean, it is Christmas time, or it's holiday time, as I should say. So they're also bringing in the new year too. So, yeah, they don't stop for you, unfortunately. We wish they did.
What is the difference between surviving renewal season and using it as like a strategic opportunity to clean up your licensing footprint?
I mean, just staying organized with the pre-checklist, like we talked about a few minutes earlier. If you have that, you're set. Again, like going back to the documents and being as early as you can with them. Give yourself time to be able to correct it. Goes back to the regulators are human too, so they will give you a chance to fix your profile, but not if you don't, and not if you do it at 12:30 or before, because they don't have sympathy either. So it goes back to being as early as you can for yourself. If you do want to change your address, there's nothing wrong with that. Just prepare and be proactive on the changes. So I can't stress that enough. Just get your documents prepared the second you get them. I mean, if you're using us, we send them to you way before they're actually required. So give yourself time to make those mistakes, and then the state regulator will tell you exactly how they want it.
Yeah.
And every year you'll know what they want, and you'll just get better and better at it every year for your company.
I mean, they don't really make a lot of jokes, the state regulators, but they also don't shy away from telling you exactly what they're looking for. So,
and they will help you if you give them the respect and time to review. They need time to review it to give you an answer back, but they will always work with you. I haven't seen a regulator that will just look at a document and tell you no. unless, again, it's on the day of the deadline.
Yep. So what do you find would be the biggest piece of advice that you could give to a broker that's heading into their first renewal season?
Make sure you have the money for it. And I what I mean by that is, again, prep and, ask us for estimates or like look arounds, because I've seen it a lot that they come into 11/1 and then they see a $10,000 cart or, whatever the fee amount may be. And then they're like, oh, I have to wait, for it to hit on my bank account, company level. And that's where you don't have almost a choice if you're dealing with certain states with deadline.
You're delaying yourself by not kind of budget it.
Prepare yourself to pay a little. It's not fun on the finance part. So that's my biggest recommendation is like prepare now to pay thousands in November. And just see it as you're paying for 2026. So it's not a loss in a way. It's just you're paying before the year actually comes. That's my biggest recommendation for them. Again, you're not just paying the NMLS fees though. So if you have bonds, you have MLO licenses, there's just a lot of tiny little fees that you may not think about. So we can give you an estimate of one fee, but you have to understand the little tack on fees. There's $36 for your credit or criminal background check, $15 for credit report. Bonds are, in the couple hundred. So they just tiny little fees end up tacking on. And then they're like, holy cow, I didn't see it be this amount back when I ran it in June. So it's just being prepared to fork out a lot. And then being prepared that Q1 is just around the corner. So you have to replenish that account again. If you're, net worth requirements, net worths are huge. So a lot of our clients, put all their money into renewals and then they're like, oh no, now we're broke. So just again, it's just a ring around the rosy. You're going to have the net worth again come 1/1. So
budgeting is so important.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a very good point. Very smart, forward thinking there.
Yeah. I've seen clients be in nightmares where they give a balance sheet, mostly LLCs, due to how you can pay yourself and pay through your company. And then come Q1, they're like, we forked out too much last year. And now they're in the negatives or, now they're dealing with not being close to their net worth for every state. So again, it's just preparing as much as you can or even saving now to put away for renewals.
Where can people reach out if they want help from you or from your team to review their licensing ahead of this renewal season?
Yeah, we have several outlets you can get a hold of us if your brand's spanking new and you're not a client of ours yet. You have our website, we have our social media outlets, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn.
I will drop those into the description box below.
Yeah, a brand new client, we have a lot of outlets. Same for current clients too. If you're watching this, you should have our point of contacts for at least one of our departments, even if it's not mine. We're all family here, so one of us will connect you to the correct outlet to get you those answers. And then I'm sure if you're new, we'll try to snag you into staying.
We'll impress you with our wonderful customer service.
Exactly.
Yeah, no reason to go trying to navigate renewal season alone if you don't have to. Again, we will drop everything into the description box below. You can find our contact information there. It is a service that we provide, but again, there are tons of resources out there, and even contacting us for an estimate does not guarantee that you need to utilize us for services. We're just happy to be a resource to help you navigate this time. All right, that's a wrap on today's episode of Approved AF, the licensing podcast. A big thanks to Karah for breaking down what every mortgage pro needs to know before renewal season hits. If you're feeling overwhelmed or just want a second set of eyes on your licensing footprint, don't wait. Head on over to LicensingStore.com or hit the link in the show notes to get connected with our team. And if you found this episode helpful, do me a favor, share it with someone in your network who needs to hear it. Leave us a quick review and be sure to follow us so you never miss another episode. Until next time, stay compliant, stay ready, and stay approved AF.